Well, good morning everybody. I do hope I've got some company. I'm not here chatting to myself, which will be interesting. Anyway, I will trundle on. What I'm going to do today is do, well, I'm actually inspired by this photograph. I've used this one before, but I want to show you a different purpose for using this video or this photograph. What I really like about this photograph, I love winter scenes anyway. I love all of the Northern Hemisphere sort of landscape, etc. So I'm drawn to those colours, that coolness, but then you've got this, it looks very much like burnt sienna to me, so it's really lovely and warm. So there's a contrast. Orange and blue are opposite on the colour wheel, so that always works extremely well. So that's why this photograph pulls me all the time. That and that lovely splash of really gorgeous like cerulean blue and the white. So there's a wonderful contrast in these gorgeous grey clouds. However, but what I don't like, and this is the interesting part, is I don't like the fact that it's like almost cut in half with this water that's going through here and the landscape, etc. So what I'm always looking to do is represent in my artwork my response to the landscape. Never anything that's really exact. So anyway, this is my inspiration, and what I'm going to do is do 4 little watercolour, very quick, which I'll show you these two in a minute, on cartridge paper. Very quick paintings, and they're just part of my response to what this photograph. You can see, there you are, you can see the both of them now. So all I'm using is burnt sienna, and this is ultramarine and some cobalt turquoise light. There's a tiny touch of cobalt turquoise light that I've touched in here and there in both of them. You can see that. I've used one brush only. This is a very old SAA's, it's called a Flatmate. Lovely little nylon brush, really good, and you can be quite rough with it, and it's fine. It's really works well. And an old National Trust card. So what I wanted to do is have some marks that weren't brush-like in you know the effect they make on the paper. Okay, and finally in here is some waterproof PVA glue, and I have a little palette knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 more like this. They're done in moments. Once you've got your paints activated, which I have. Oh, here you are. I've mixed in this one ultramarine, burnt sienna, and the tiniest touch of cobalt turquoise. And this one is the French ultramarine and the cobalt turquoise. A tiny touch of raw sienna went into the cobalt turquoise and French ultramarine. So there we are. Those are the colours I've used. So it's all ready to go. Now the reason I've done these 2 to start with is because what I wanted to do was move on quickly to doing the collaging, because I want to create something from this. It's all about my response to this. It seems like a long-winded way of telling you, but it's how I've managed to move my art from being much more representational to where it is now. And we're constantly reassessing and evolving. So that's all good. So as I say, I've got these 2 done and I've dried them ready so that we're all good to go. And whilst the other 2 are drying, and I don't have to have the hairdryer, and hopefully I can begin collaging with these. So let me show you how I did these 2. So I'll just take one. You can see there's the edge of the cartridge pad that I used. So here we go. I'm afraid the light is appalling. I've tried putting the lights on in here, but it actually creates lots of shadows. So yeah, we've got proper winter light, I'm afraid. A bit dingy. Right, one other thing that I will do is I will put water onto this little piece of paper before I even start. What that does immediately is loosens me up. If I was to go straight in with paint, I kind of feel like I've got to work around it, if you see what I mean. So by splashing water on the paper immediately, in a pretty ad hoc sort of way, maybe add a bit there, you know, you've immediately got something to work with, something much more bold and exciting. What am I actually going to do? No, I'll do one at a time. I was going to do both together because it's so much fun working with more than one piece. So I'm going to go in straight away. I'm going straight into the burnt sienna, but I'm really quite dense, as you can see. And okay, there's burnt sienna in there. Right, let's get that in there. Fantastically bright colour. I think I've said to you before, I really love Winsor & Newton's burnt sienna. It just behaves beautifully. Now all I'm doing is I'm glancing at the photograph to see where those warmer colours are and adding that to my paper. But I also know some of the, I hate saying rules, but some of the rules that help your painting to work. So I know that if I put some up here, it'll work. Some down there as well. I think I'm going to work on, no, I was going to work on the other one as well. No, I'm going to leave that as it is. Now I'm going to go in with the dark. This is ultramarine and burnt sienna and a tiny touch of cobalt turquoise to make it. The reason I'm using these colours is because they're all opaque. The burnt sienna is semi-opaque, but I just want them to be really dense on the paper. And you'll see why presently. Again, responding to this, there's some dark here, so let's get that in there. But I'm not creating trees, I'm not creating anything that's, you know, similar to the to the landscape. I'm just responding to what I can see going on here, some splodges and things going on, and another bit of dark up there, and just for good measure, some here. I'm cleaning my brush, and I'm going to go into that lovely light colour now. This is ultramarine and cobalt turquoise light and the tiniest touch of raw sienna. So, okay, so there is a sense of a sky. Again, I want it to be really dense, and I get a bit in there. Don't do a bullseye, that's a bit of a bullseye, so I'm going to take it across and bring it down. Bullseye means something right in the middle, so it completely draws the eye. You don't want to do that. You want to have the eye travelling. Oh, in my next video for you, I'm going to do purely compositional. Even in work that is more abstract or abstracting from the landscape, you do want a sense of composition to it. There are these sort of given rules, if you like. Right, now I've got cobalt turquoise light, just to add a bit of oomph to it. I really love that colour. Some in there. And I'm just feeling my way around, thinking what works. Ultimately causing a mess. And then I'm going to use my water to soften these. I still want some light areas. Keep some white paper or light paper. And that's gone a bit puddly. I don't want it so wet, so I'm just going to take some of that out by putting my tissue here and drawing up some of that pigment. Oh, I like what's going on here. And making a mess. I'm going to collage onto here, that's not a bother. So I wanted this to be as thick as possible, so I don't really want to have it dribbling all over the place. Plus it's got to dry without me putting the hairdryer on. Going back into that dark. Now the reason for that, you can see it looks just like that, doesn't it? Not. Right, now I've got my card. Now what I want to do is I'm going to literally pick up some of this pigment. So it's a non-porous card, so obviously it's not going to hang on to that pigment, but what I wanted is some more lines. You can scratch into it so you retrieve some light. Cartridge paper works really well for this, actually. Look at that, that's just great, but I'm going to let that meander back across. And there were some trees over here. So my version of the trees, I'm actually going to go to this now and put the card into the dark mix. It's very wet, but I wanted to have a vibrant, flowing sort of response to this. So I didn't want it to be too, you know, too carefully thought out, which it is carefully thought out. That kind of is a contradiction in terms. Anyway, so you can just see that I'm really moving very quickly and having fun. I'm just going to scrape that out a bit by holding the edge there, and then allow that dark pigment to meander back over there. And you create such exciting responses to your, you know, source material. Yeah, absolutely, you can recognise it, can't you? Right, pop that there, that's number one. And I'm going to do a second one. Now, it's interesting when you're doing a couple. I'll turn it that way because I want that pigment to go that way. that you don't do the same. If I show you these two again, you'll see, I mean, really, this was just a few moments ago before I went onto camera, and they're very different to this one. So it's interesting that those are much more alike. This one is going to be very different, and that's really great because I'm going to rip them up on collage, so that's going to be onto here. So it's me. Super fun. I'll just put that over there so it's not in my way. Right, now I have run out of my dark because I've used it so liberally, so you have to bear with. Ultramarine going in really quite thick, and a little bit of water in there. Loosen it a bit, then into the cobalt turquoise light. And that's being stubborn. I can't get the ultramarine to activate. Move. We have people watching. Obviously need to put some water on it, and the tiniest bit of cobalt turquoise light. It's probably difficult to see in this light, but it does cool that a little bit. Quite a lot really. And I'm just going to make sure I've got enough to clean my brush off camera. And going to clean up my splodge. And I just want to make sure I've got enough of this, and I haven't really, so back to the ultramarine and the cobalt turquoise light. And a little tiny touch of the raw sienna. Okay, so as before, I shall use some water, splodge it. You can dab it around if you want. I don't know if you can hear. The kittens have arrived in here. I've got two little kittens and they're a little hellers. Right, I'm going to change this one up this time. I'm going to start with the cool blue colour. And that's my photograph. Let's go back to this a second. Again, not that I want it to look like that, but I want this one to be different to that one. So just adding the pigments in a slightly different way. Can you hear them? Honestly. Then just cobalt turquoise this time, because it's so vibrant and beautiful. Okay, get that to, I mean, I'd like that left as it is. It's glorious. Now I'm going to go with the burnt sienna. Oh, isn't that lovely? You can see how the blue and the orange really react against each other and make it so exciting. I mean, these are very quick to give you an idea of how I work. You can take much more time and be more considered, which I kind of recommend actually. On the other hand, it's rather nice to be as quick and fluid as this. As you can see, I'm adding rather a lot of water, remembering that they've got to dry. So just taking a bit out. Again, that's a little bit bullseye-ish. So bring that across. A bit more of that. Oh, I'm loving those colours. Goodness me. Absolutely fabulous. Right, going to the dark now. And so this is all just my response to this little photo and my love of these sort of colours and winter scenes. So, do I go there? Yeah, I'm going to plop it there. That's just the trouble with working with the same shape brush, is you need to consider the fact that you need to put those marks in differently. So I'm deliberately trying to work in a different way now. I particularly want to create a blob of paint here because I want to use that card again to manoeuvre it. Okay, notice how I dab around again. It's all about that composition, which I'll say that'll be in the next little video. Okay, almost tempted to leave that as it is, but I rather like just softening it a little bit. Having to hold it down. Stay. Right, before I get the card making some marks, I'm going to just tip this, allow those pigments to mix and blend on the little bit of cartridge paper. It's sopping wet. Can you see how glossy it is? It's just utterly sopping. Right, so get the little card. I'm going to use it this way now. And just make some horizontal marks. Vertical, beg your pardon. It's my left and right. Yeah, I have no idea. It is going to be similar, obviously, because of this, you know, I'm responding to this one, but at the same time, oh, I just thought about doing something really lovely. Right, I'm going to get a pile of burnt sienna, pop it on here, and do this. So laying that on really heavily, and then I'm going to turn it upside down, clean my brush off a little. I don't want it too wet, but what I'm going to do then is just add a bit of water to allow that pigment to meander. Right, we've got some distant trees growing now on this one. Right, I mean, that doesn't really matter what you're creating, because we're going to collage. Pull that up and then bring those back down. It's a great way to play and learn and experiment. And you could use some watercolour pencils if you wanted to. Oh, I like getting that bit of light going back in there, that's rather nice. And then change the marks, which I didn't do in the others. I might just do that in the other one, just do some different marks. It's time to do that one. Yep, probably. Just do. See, getting carried away. Don't do too many. There we go. Right, so that's those two. Now I'm going to have to leave those to dry a little bit. Excuse me. So I'll pop those over here and come back to these two. Now, these two seem particularly pale in comparison now, but that's okay. Right, so what I want to start doing now is literally ripping them up and using the PVA glue and recomposing. So I'm recomposing the landscape. So the first thing I don't want to see is these edges. You can use a ruler if you want a really straight edge, or you can just rip. So this side I just want to rip, and if I get some uneven edges, see that little piece might well be of use. So anything I rip up I'm just going to put to the side at the moment, so I'll just put it there. Got rid of that bit. And this is a very straight edge, so I don't really want that. It's not got much interest in it, so I'm going to pull that bit off. I probably won't use those, but I won't get rid, I'll just pop them over on the side. And that's a bit white there. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to start with. I'm going to stick this into the sketch pad straight away, and I don't know if you can see there's a lovely little bit sticking out there. I've got the paper dirty there. By the way, when you've finished doing your collage and you're happy with it, if you've made a load of mess like me, just get some white acrylic and paint it, and then it will look gorgeous again. So let's get on with this, and I need. I'll put my palette knife, here we are. Great dollop of PVA glue that you spread around. It really is the greatest fun. I'm currently adding watercolour workshops to my website weekly, one a week. It's being added for the next, well, there are 3 available now and 4 coming up on Monday, the 4th one, should I say. So after that, or very soon, I'm going to be doing a course all about this process. Looking for a bit of paper. Okay, could use that. What you need is another piece of cartridge paper so that you can do that, which is ideal, right? So that's a fantastic photograph, but there we go. And from this, so, okay, fine. Look, it looks like there's a creature climbing up there. So then what we do is we start looking at this. Is that working? And for me, it isn't. So I've got to think, right, okay, well, what from this could I use? Well, I could be really fussy and fiddly, but what I want to do is just literally rip this up at the moment and then have a look at what I've got and see whether any of it works better. I love those marks, so I might just hang on to those. That might go somewhere in a minute. Anyway, just pop that over there. Right, so I've got a darker piece here. Does that work? Would that be better? Oh, that's quite interesting, isn't it? I've already got a bit of a lip there, but that works quite well. I'll just lay that there for a minute. So you're recomposing, you're constantly looking around and thinking, does that work? Will that work better? Does that fit there better? And also things like this. I wouldn't paint like that. Now, would that work? Why not try it? Why not try something completely different? I'll just place that there for a moment. Not sure if I really like that, but I said to you about this piece. Quite like that, actually. But you're just looking at it for the minute and thinking, will that work? I feel I could do some darker bits. I might need to dry those other two in a minute. I don't need to use all of these bits either. That might work better there. Oh, yeah. That's quite strong, isn't it? That's, yeah, that way. And I love this bit coming off here. It reminds me of, is it David Tress? Somebody Tress, I think. Lovely. I love these light areas. Oh, look at that. So I haven't stuck anything down yet. You can see I'm thinking and thinking and thinking. Will it work? Do I want that? I like this bit. I'm trying to get at this. Oh yeah, that looks good. There. Right, I'm wondering about putting that there. I think that is, in my opinion, infinitely more interesting than that. Do we want all of that? Maybe a little bit less of it. Yeah, there. Now that sort of starts to become a tree, right? That's going in. I've made a decision. So I'm just going to glue this down in front of me. Oh, which way did I have it? Was it that way? There we go. Yeah, I really like that. I'm not sure about this piece. I'll just keep it there for a minute. And that's interesting. I think that's more interesting. It's just a fabulous way of working. Is that, maybe that's, I'm constantly thinking. Well, that one's going to go over there, I think. Okay, no, I'm going to stick with that one. So this one's going in. And I hope you can kind of get the gist of what I'm doing and see how much fun it is. And the thing is, once you've finished collaging, you can then go on to it over it again if you wanted to. I might have a bit of light in there. That's interesting. Not sure about that bit. Right, I'm going to have to go and get the other pieces, see if they're dry. I'm looking at these two. Would they actually work with that? Maybe not. You can see they're nowhere near dry, but I might just pop these aside and keep going, see if I can find some light. Oh, what about that? Oh, I like that. There we go. This is going to be fiddly and messy, isn't it? But I'm going to do it. So I'm regaining some light. And that's always a thing with watercolour particularly. Once you've lost your light, it's how do you regain that? Well, you get the old collage out, don't you? It works wonders. Or white pastel pencils, or white paint. There you go. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. I feel it needs something over here and across there. Something about that is really pulling my eye. I really like that. Would that go anywhere? Or is that too? That's too. See, that's the other thing. See, that shape and that shape are very similar. So I've got to make sure I don't keep using those sorts of shapes. Quite like that one. Having that cool colour in the corner. Just that round. There we go. It seems like it needs something there, a bit lighter in the middle. So this is where you're getting fiddly. Okay. My head is constantly wanting to flick into landscape, sky, land, and I'm trying to move away from that in this process, but I said that I quite like. Oh, now there's interesting. See, by just placing something, you come across a piece that you think, no, that really works for me. Now that I like. Right, there we go. Oh, I've got rather a lot of glue. I'm trying to work quite quickly. Now, did I have it that way or did I have it the other way? I like that light though, so maybe I'll bring that underneath. Maybe like that. Oh, look, there we are. I haven't been able to look at the phone because it's looking down. I do hope I've got company. I'm having loads of fun. So I'm going to give it a good old press down. And you could then go in with any sort of pencils. I've got just a graphite, so I can then go in and draw where you then connect these areas. Oh, there you are, unbreak it. You don't have to leave it, just all to watercolour. You could make more of that, couldn't you, into a tree if you wanted to. There's me not going representational. Here I am drawing a tree. Just a suggestion of one. Not sure what kind of a tree though. Loads of fun. I'm not sure I want to add much more to that. It's a shame that's dirty. Here possibly. Yeah, see, I wouldn't paint like that. So that's going in. Let's have a look. And the thing is, it doesn't matter because if you don't like what you do, you can just collage over. You could even take it off because it isn't dry yet. None of it matters, which is just wonderful. Right, there we go. I'm going to do a mark like that. Now I'm wondering whether to knock some of that back. Not sure about this one. This one's, my eye's being pulled to that. There are still those rules. You need the eye to lead around the painting, so we're kind of going that way and that way, but maybe such a small piece. No, I think, do you know what? I think I'm done with that one. If I was just to place some white bits there so your eye's not distracted too much by the dirt, you kind of get the gist. Having started from something along those lines to then recomposing your landscape completely to this, and it may or may not be successful for you. See, that's not tonally different enough, so that doesn't work, but you can keep trying. I think it's a really exciting way of working. Well, that might work. Well, see, I nearly said I'm done, but I'm going to just do this one. It's just about having fun, being experimental, and going for it, really. Just go for it. Oh, I've just seen I've got a got an Inktense orange pencil. Now that's going to work. I'll leave those bits of paper there. I mean, it's going to, hopefully they don't distract you too much. Ah, there we go. Just combining those wonderful colours together. Might even do some kind of lines coming down here. Do you know the reason why? Because I want to. Plain and simply, because I want to. And it feels right. And this is my sketchbook and I can do what I like. You can tell I'm having fun, can't you? I love that bit going over there. That could do with a bit more glue. Ah, I'll tell you what, there's one thing you could do. When you've completely finished your collage and you really want to keep it safe, there's something called gel medium. Golden make it, and quite a few other companies. And you literally paint this gel medium over it and allow it to dry, and it keeps it safe basically from ripping off or whatever. And it comes in different colours, either, what am I trying to say, shiny or gloss or matte is what I'm trying to get. I'll get there in a minute, won't I? Right, I can feel I'm now fiddling, so, and indeed I am, so I'm going to fiddle a little bit more. And then I'm going to stop. There, right. So other than the bits around the edges, that for me is so exciting when it started off like that, and I ended up doing a couple of quick sketches. These are so much more green than the two that I did before I started the video, but that doesn't matter. And it turns out I don't really need to use these two. I can save these for another occasion. And I've got another quick tip. All of these bits that you've ripped up, don't get rid, because they, find an old envelope or one of those plastic wallet things you put your paperwork in, and just keep them all for another time, because it's great fun. I may well have shown you this before, so I hope I'm not repeating myself too much and boring you, but this is just fun. Right, okay, I'm gonna go, folks, so bye for now. Now that I've got to turn the camera around, so bye.